don't watch an anime called
Pacific Rim. Really, I mean it. Do not watch Pacific Rim 2. It's really not worth it. Yes, I know the movie has a subtitle, but I refuse to use it because it's dumb. For the first time in a long time, I literally felt nothing while watching a movie. I can't say that the movie's boring, because I was never technically bored, but I just didn't really care. I guess I can call it tedious. That's a good word to use. It's a tedious movie. It's a chore to watch this movie. To start things off, this movie has some of the worst character writing that I've ever seen in my short little life. You guys know I don't like making big statements like that, but I really mean it this time. The characters were just so horrible. Now, I'm not one of those people who worships the first Pacific Rim. I think it's a fun action movie, but that's about it. Compared to this shit, though, it looks like Citizen Kane. I'm not even kidding. Here's how the characters in the first movie are a million times better. In the original movie, we are clearly shown the connection that the characters have with each other. Mako's relationship with Idris Elba and the main character guy, whose name I don't remember, are fleshed out and explored. The two doctors have a character arc with one another, and everybody's relationships with each other are established and worked on in the movie. In this movie, everybody's already done shit in the past, and we're just told about it. Everybody already met, and everybody's already friends with each other, so we don't get to see any relationships being fostered in this film. I have no reason to believe that Finn and his main co-pilot have any relationship with each other. Remember how in the last movie it was all about two pilots forming a bond and learning to work together? Yeah, that's not in this movie at all. Finn already knew the guy that he pilots the Jaeger with. We also never really get any moments to build this relationship, aside from them saying, oh, remember back in the day when we were buddies? Wow, that was great. I seriously thought that this movie was gonna be about Finn and the little white girl learning how to work together, but it's really not about that at all. They just pilot the Jaeger together for like one scene. These two guys also have a third friend, who's this Hispanic girl, and I forgot she was in the movie. They say that they both have a crush on her, but I just didn't remember that she even existed because she doesn't do anything. Their crush on her isn't even explored, they just say that they like her. Finn is also in this awkward position where he's the self-insert character, you know, the guy that we're supposed to see ourselves as, you know, the guy we can relate to, but he's also the main mentor character, like he's supposed to be the wise teacher. This just doesn't work. He's meant to teach the young cadets how they can be heroes, but we barely even know who he is. It's just such an awkward arc, if you can even call it that. He's the son of a great hero, and he's talented and handsome and stylish and funny and cool, and he's just so great. We never know if any of it is true because we don't see any of his traits displayed to us. Oh man, Finn, remember back when you did that thing before the movie even fucking started? Wow, that was great. You're so cool, man. This is not how you write a main protagonist in an action-adventure movie. There's no character arc displayed here for anybody. The characters also have absolutely no goals at all. Now this is very important because if the characters have no goals, they have nothing to strive for in a story. If they have nothing to strive for, then I have no reason to fucking watch it. In the last movie, everybody wanted something. Mako wanted to become a pilot and prove to Idris Elba that she could be a hero like him. Charlie wanted to prove that he could be a respected scientist. In this movie, nobody wants anything. Nobody really cares about anything. Except for Charlie, but I'll get to that guy later. The lack of character motivation also stems from the fact that there isn't a plot for about 70% of the movie. The original movie had a very well-established goal. The plot of that movie was, there are giant monsters from another dimension, and we need to pilot giant robots and kill them. It's a simple premise, but it works pretty well. It's also established from the very first fucking minute of the movie, and it serves as the driving force for everything that the characters experience. In this movie, the kaiju portal is already closed, so there isn't really a threat anymore. The characters practice in their robots and they talk to each other, and that's all they do for most of the movie. Even when Mako fucking dies, we still don't have a point to the story. This is really baffling to me. I really don't understand it. You go ahead and kill off one of the main characters in the last movie, and you still don't have a storyline to pursue. The characters just durdle around until the story comes to them. The reason for this lack of direction is because the plot kind of just happens in the background, so that we can have a twist later on. In this movie, Charlie has become evil, and he's been pulling the strings without anybody knowing it. Yeah, remember how in the last movie he loved all the kaiju and he was like a big kaiju fanboy? Yeah, well, he's been secretly fucking the kaiju brain from the last movie, and it established a psychic link between him and the alien overlords that want to take over the Earth. So he's been spending 10 years trying to open a new portal to let the kaiju out. Now, if you've seen the first movie, you may be thinking to yourself, what the fuck? Because that's the only logical response that you can have to any of the shit I just told you. Charlie turning evil was technically some of the most heinous character assassination that I've ever seen in my entire life. He's the whole reason the characters in the last movie even succeeded. He was kind of an underdog. He went on his own journey to prove himself as a talented scientist. He's basically the third main character, but in here they make him the main villain. He kills hundreds, if not thousands of people. But you know what? I seriously didn't care at that point because I just wanted something to happen. The reveal hits you like more than halfway through the movie. For 75% of the movie, there is seriously nothing happening. So when this lovable character goes crazy and kills everybody, I was just glad that I hadn't slipped into a coma, because this movie is just so incredibly bland and uneventful. The only interesting parts are, I guess, the fights, but not really. It's hard to explain, but I'm gonna try my best. As I was watching the fight scenes in this movie, I thought to myself, you know, this is technically more visually appealing than the fights in the first movie. The robots are more agile, so the fights are a lot faster and more fluid, but then I realized it doesn't matter because the action has no emotional connection whatsoever. Everything's nice to look at, but there's nothing meaningful happening. Even when Finn has a rematch with the robot that killed his sister, I expected him to fucking lose it. I expected a really emotional fight. But no, he just acted the same way he always does. This would have been a great chance to have a character-defining moment, but there wasn't one. You want to know what one of my favorite scenes in the first movie was? It was a scene where they beat up the kaiju with the boat. And it's not because, oh, I like it when they hit the monster with the boat. No, it's because earlier in the movie we see our two main characters connecting in a martial arts duel. It's their first real interaction, and it's a samurai fight. Then we see them go through all these trials in order to end up in the mech together, sync up, and fight with each other. And then the first thing they do is they grab a boat together and they use it like a fucking samurai sword. It's character development. This is how you do it. But no, none of the action scenes in the sequel have an emotional tether like this. Also, real quick, why does every Jaeger have a sword now? In the last movie, all the Jaegers were kind of like specifically tailored to fit the person that was piloting it. Here, the characters don't have any traits, so the robots are just kind of big, cool robots, I guess. Like, remember there were those Chinese triplets? And they all piloted the robot together, and the robot had 3 arms, so they all had something to do? Yeah, they don't really have much to do in the movie, but just because a character is not prominent in the film, it doesn't mean that they don't have to have any fucking character traits. The Jaeger in the first movie had a sword because the Japanese character put a sword in it. It was a defining character moment to have a fucking sword. Oh, but now everyone has a sword. This guy has a sword, this guy has 2 swords, everybody has a fucking sword. It's like all the positive elements from the first movie were completely ignored, and all the bland shit just got left in. Del Toro has little quirks that he puts in his movies, and he's the only guy I know who managed to make a big, dumb robot movie, but make it charming and endearing. I'm glad he's moved on to bigger and better projects, but I'm kind of mad that people are taking the universe that he made and they're just shitting all over it. I didn't even mention all the other stuff that sucks in this movie either. You know how I can tell a good action movie from a bad one? If they use fucking Dutch angles in every scene, it's a bad action movie. This shit made me sick. Every other shot was tilted ever so slightly. I felt like I had vertigo. I was getting dizzy just watching this stupid movie. To top it all off, near the end of the movie, the troll song starts playing. Yes, that old-ass meme. It plays right before the final confrontation, and it really made me realize something about this movie. This movie's just a joke. That's it. It's just a big joke. I bet they didn't even give a shit when they made it, because it'll make money in China. We have like 2 Chinese characters in the movie, so it doesn't even matter if it's any good. It's literally just a Transformers movie now. It can sell toys, we can make some big bucks in the foreign market, so who cares if it's any good? I don't know, I cared a little bit. If anybody's capable of turning their brain off and enjoying a dumb movie, it's me. I like Star Wars, for crying out loud. But this movie is just that bad. It has none of the soul of the first movie, and it's not even bad enough to be funny. It's just awful. So please don't watch it. Please do not watch it because I don't want a sequel. 2 out of 10. Don't watch the movie, please. I'm begging you, do not watch this movie. I'm serious.